Question number 1. In the next 3 years, what steps would you take to improve the barony?
Man, that's kind of a
It's kind of a vague question, yes. But like I told you, these are the way they were given to me.
That's okay. One of the things that I'd like to see changed is that same-sex couples can run for Baron or Baroness and Baroness, because right now, ours are stamps, you can't do that. There is,
Would you repeat the question, please?
In the next 3 years, what steps would you take to improve the barony? Going first is tough, isn't it?
Yeah, improve the barony. Well, I think it's important to maintain the rep we have, and improving it would be gathering our people, gathering our assets. There's a lot of fringe players. There's a lot of people that, because of life, something happened and they haven't come for 2-3 years. If we can get some of these people back in to share the wealth of their assets, of their abilities, we can improve it with people. Maintain our status. I think our status is pretty good. To improve it, or to make it shine better, is to get our people to shine more, come out and do more.
Okay.
you know, we do have a lot of people who just kind of came in and they kind of looked and, you know, want to encourage them and say, hey, come on over, let me show you this. Let me show you, what are you interested in? Oh, you're interested in that? Let me hook you up with this person. And then following up, how's it going with them? And finding, hey, you like to do this? You want to try this? You know, and
Okay. Kat and Scott.
Well, we both couples have agreed that we should open up so there's no gender restriction on the baronage for baron and or baroness and or baron and baron and or and so on. One of the things I'd like to see us do is continue. We have a number of people who have been taken notice of within and without the barony. I'd like to see that continue. Basically, more of the same and more elaborate of the same.
I would also like to see targeted recruitment, because I think that, you know, sometimes we do a lot of the recruitment, a lot of the demos and stuff we do are very generalized and they're great for public interest, but they don't actually bring newcomers into the SCA. And I think that if we look at recruitment in the level of saying people who have concurrent or parallel interests are probably the areas we want to really look into, like the cons, like the LARPers, like the college kids who are studying history. And looking at that as a level of recruitment to try and bring more people into the group. But also, we want to reach out to our friends who have fallen away from the SCA in the past and try and see if we can encourage them to come back, because that is a lot of people who have a lot of history with our barony. And for one reason or another, don't play anymore with the barony, and we would like to see that change.
And basically, just to follow up, one of the things that's been brought to our attention is that Ethelmark is one of the few kingdoms in the society that is growing its population. I'd like to explore more why that is and how we can improve it on a baronial level.
Okay. Do you know how hard it is not to ask questions to what your answers are? Okay. Question number 2. This is to 2 individuals. This is to Lord Gregory and Lord Stephen. Lord Gregory, since they went first last time, you can go first this time. How are you going to determine who deserves an award?
Well, first, we appreciate input from others as to the person's ability, and then follow up and see that ability for ourselves. See what they're doing, If not through our own eyes, then through others, because if one person sees that this person is worthy of a given award, I'd like to think there are others that would agree. Basically just obtain information and try and make an informed decision.
Okay. Stefan, and then there's a follow-up question to this as well.
Basically the same thing. If you have someone that is worthy of an award, you have to either see it personally or have reliable sources come to you and say, so-and-so's done this. We think it's about time they got, let's just say, the Thunderbolt. And they're really worthy of it. If you see it personally, if you have reliable people and you go to those reliable people, such as your marshal staff, or you go to ANS officer and says, well, this person deserves this award because they are such fantastic at cooking, or they're so fantastic at making period underwear, which is something that isn't considered. You gather all the evidence and you make the decision. And if they're worthy of it, then all that's holy in this group, yeah, you give them the award. And you put it out and publish it that because of their merits, they have gotten this.
Okay, the follow-up question, which I think both of you already answered, was who would you go to find out if awards were viable to give to that person? And I think you both already answered that. If either one would like to say more about that, feel free, otherwise we'll skip right over it.
Basically go to people who are knowledgeable about the given award that they're being asked to be presented.
Okay. All right, question number 3. This is to both couples, and it's you guys' turn. How many events are you planning on attending each year? Like I said, these questions were given to me by people. They're not my questions.
That's right.
Well, per year, per month, it goes by priorities. They're going to support our champions.
And, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that we both have to go.
Right.
There are times when-
We can split it, and Liz can go one weekend, I can go another. We may even have to split forces on a weekend, 2 different directions in order to support our people. And that's not just in the marshalate, that's also in the ANS areas, or if we hear that someone is going to be at this event and they're getting this award, we'll be there to show the support. As many as we can do, I know it sounds general.
Are you looking for a number?
The question is exactly how I read it to you. How many events are you planning on attending each year? I don't know if they're asking for a number or if they just want to know which ones.
We have to swear fealty, so that's at least one.
Yeah.
How many other times we get kings, those times we'll be there to swear fealty.
Every local event,
We'll be there at every local event. We'll
and
be
we're
there.
going to try to get out at least once a month, at least one of us at least once a month.
I'm sorry for it being a vague question.
That's all right,
It's the
you
way
didn't
was
write
given
it,
to me.
Yeah.
but, you know, so, I don't know,
Okay.
at least 12. There. You want a number, at least 12.
Lord Gregory, Lord Dave Cat.
Oh, God, no, it's more than that. I'm just going off the top of my head, for the last 3 years, I think we've averaged two events a month easily for the last 3 years. So our estimate would be 24 to 25. Because, yeah, we do about every other weekend. And we've been doing that for years. So that's not something we actually plan on changing.
My parents ask when RSCA events are so that they can claim their visits. Just because we tend to have quite a few on our plate. I don't see that changing, but.
Okay. All right, next question is going to be the both couples again. Your baronial champions compete in the 7 Pearl Championships every year against all the other baronies. It's a pretty big deal for your champions in the barony as a whole. How are you willing to support your champion in the 7 Pearl tournament? I believe it's your turn? Okay.
Well, the first part is to be there. Part of being supportive of the Barony Champions is to make sure that they have what they need to be able to go to the event that the Seven Pearls Championship is happening at, that they have people who are there supporting them. So going to the event is important, that it's happening at, and if at all possible, we would. There are a few events that we've missed that obviously Barony Champions happen at sometimes, but White Hart being one of them, because it's 10 hours away. But
Been there.
I have not done White Hart. There's only one group in the kingdom that I have not gone to, and that is Bordeaux. That's the part of it. And then the other part of it is to really, encourage the Seven Pearls Champions to be able to do more practices for the arts that they're doing. Help them in any way that we can as support staff to make sure that they have that opportunity.
Do you need, there are things besides our physical and emotional support that we can offer in some cases, a great example, a number of years ago, Blue Star was our Baronial Championship, and he needed to borrow the Baronial loaner helm to be able to fight at the Seven Pearls tournament. Making sure that they have the equipment if possible, and if they need transportation, we happen to be going there, we're going to make sure that they have transportation as well.
Your turn.
More of the same. Supporting our champions is important. It's not just being at the event to say, hey, that's one of ours. It's also making sure that they have the gear, that they have, we'll take it from a fencing perspective, Seven Pearls, you need a herald, you need a second. Support staff.
Just an FYI, you need that for the heavy now too.
Then we need someone to herald in our fighter, herald in our champion.
And if they don't have anybody,
Yeah, we'll do
I'm
it.
more than willing to herald in my own person if I had to, whatever they need.
Yeah.
If it's a ride, if it's extra equipment. Oh my God, I'm dying for a chocolate milk. Somebody go get this guy a chocolate milk.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Okay, this question is, I'm going to say it right now, she's probably going to kill me when I say this, from Barb. Okay?
Okay.
Last year, when our Baronial heavy champion could not go to Blackstone, we had to jump through hoops to get a champion there to support the Barony. Okay? Everybody knows the whole situation. In that situation, a week before, what would each couple have done to support getting someone to a Seven Pearl Heavy Championship? Because it's actually, they're all equal, but fencing and heavy is a little more watched than the other ones. So, whose turn is it? Cat and Scott?
It's whichever. It's fine.
Go ahead.
I'm losing track of turns, so I'm
Okay,
sorry.
It's all right. I would say that it's a hard thing for something that's that far away in a week before. I think we would be talking to everybody who's an authorized in that particular skill set to ask them, if they were willing to step forward to do this. And contacting individually, I know you and Barb did, the individual heavy weapons fighters in that case, and I think that was a very good thing to do. I know that it didn't turn out to be an easy way of getting a champion, and quite frankly, we've had years when there weren't champions from various baronies for various things showing up for this. Seven Pearls is sometimes you can't make it happen, but if you can make it happen, you make it happen. And going to the individual people who are, if it was fencing authorized individuals, to try and find someone, if it's heavy weapons authorized individuals, arts and sciences, for the people who are in those particular fields in the SCA, and making sure that we attempt to reach somebody who can take over the job as our interim champion, so that the barony has a representation at the event.
Okay.
The same, plus the fact it wouldn't matter the skill level. When we take anyone that would be willing, we would support them, heavy or fencer or with archers or throws. even if it's a person with one qualification, they are willing to represent us, we would be behind them 100%, no matter what it takes to get them there, to be supportive of them. Because if your champion backs out for whatever reason at the last minute, it's a tough call to get somebody, and life gets in the way. Maybe all your really, really good fighters can't do it. And you got somebody that's one authorization. Sword and board, that's it. Well, you know what? You go back, you go out to them, you say, you want to do it? It's yours. You go with it.
Okay.
And we support you.
All right, this next question is to two individuals, and how they come up with this pairing, I don't know. It is to Lord Gregory and Lady Fiona.
Okay?
Okay?
Woohoo!
I just passed it on. Who's first here?
Ladies first.
That's fine.
What would you look for in your baronial champions? How would you characterize or deal with someone who competes for the championship without dedicating themselves to striving to be the best ambassador of the barony might have for each specific facet?
Can you read that again?
Yeah,
Pretty please.
What would you look for in your baronial champions?
Okay.
How would you characterize or deal with someone who competes for the championship without dedicating themselves to striving to be the best ambassador of the barony? To be the best ambassador the barony might have for each facet. What would you look for in your baronial champions? How would you characterize or deal with someone who competes for the championship without dedicating themselves to striving to be the best ambassador the barony might have for each facet? I think, if I can paraphrase a little bit from
Yeah,
this.
please.
Okay. I think what they're looking for is if someone knows a couple months ahead of time that they're going to fight for the baronial championship and they have an opportunity to get all their os, will they have them by the time the championship gets there?
Oh, okay.
Okay? Are they willing to do that? And if that's the case, how would you deal with it if they didn't have it and then got it at the last minute or something? I'm paraphrasing what I have here, so.
Well, if they needed authorization, it would be nice if they got them ahead of time. Because you know that you're fighting, just like when you're competing for a Bardic champion, you can't just, well, some people can, but it isn't recommended to just go in and say, I'm going to sing this today. No, you take a lot of time to prepare and practice and get your practices in before whatever. If the tournament goes that way and they happen to win that date, then they are our champion, and a word or two towards an aside next time. Maybe it would be nice if you took a little bit more effort, but we will still be behind you, because if you are our champion, we're there. We'll be there to get you your chocolate milk, and we will be there to support you, and we will be right behind you every step of the way, and just
Okay.
get you prepared.
Gregory?
I've always been a big proponent of the idea that if we're looking for certain accolades in a candidate for Barony champion, that doesn't necessarily have to be the person that wins the day. I've seen heavy weapon tournaments where they were looking for literally who was having the most fun on the field, and that was who they chose as their champion to go forth and present that person's skill.
Okay, I think what you're getting into is the next question on the 7 Pearl. Remember, this question was, get back to it, I'm sorry.
If they don't have the needed authorization or...
Well, I paraphrased a lot of that, because this is a wicked question.
It is a wicked question.
How would you look for your baronial champions? How would you characterize or deal with someone who competes for the championship without dedicating themselves? By that, I'm assuming who didn't prepare ahead of time before that day to be the best, how would they be the best ambassador for the barony? And the reason I say this, the next question, which I'm gonna give you a heads up on, if it's all right with everybody in the room, is, when you're choosing your champions, what qualities are you looking for? So that's where you were heading with that. The other question is something a little bit different, I think.
Let me try and come back to the first one then.
Okay.
If they put the effort in and they've already proven themselves in the field, I mean, I myself have authorized in weapons form twice now before a Barony will have a weapons championship to be able to compete in that weapons form. Usually because that was my first opportunity to authorize, not necessarily play with the form, but the first opportunity to authorize. And then if I know that as champion, I would hope that whoever that champion is, if they know that they're going to have to fight Spear or Case at the Seven Pearls tournament, that they would be working toward that goal to get themselves ready. There should be training involved no matter what. Rehearsing certain songs that qualify for Bardic, putting together a project that fits within the set guidelines of a particular tournament. I would expect the champion is going to take those steps if they want to be the champion.
Okay. I'm sorry, that question was a little bit there. I tried to paraphrase as best I could. All right, the last Seven Pearls question I think here is, when you're choosing your champions, what qualities are you going to look for? That's where you were heading before, so go ahead, you go first this time.
Well, again, I feel that it really depends upon that particular championship. Am I looking for just simply who is the best person on the field that day? Or am I looking for the person that was maybe the best example of chivalry? Maybe, Fighter X went out and largessed every single bout and didn't win any. I might take that into consideration for my champion, because this person is going to continue to improve, but is also, showing those ideals that we want to see on the field. Other times I may say, no, I'm literally looking for whoever, won that day. And that will be made known before that tournament happens.
Kat?
I think, to me, one of the most important qualities for somebody who's going to be a champion in the groups is that they're striving. Whatever
what?
they're striving.
Okay.
For whatever it is that they're striving for, that's a big tell for me. Because for certain things, it's you're looking at, for arts and sciences, I look for somebody who's trying to do more authentic. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do absolute period, but to somebody who's reaching to get better is what I look for in a champion. And whether they're at the pinnacle of their ability or not, doesn't matter to me. It's more to me that this is the person who's trying.
There's several schools of thought on how a champion should be chosen. Sometimes it's heart, sometimes it's ability, sometimes it could be the hot stick of the day. Going into the championship, as you set it up, you're going to have to make sure that the priorities are set, that the combatants, competitors know what is going to be asked of them. I've seen fighters that have a lot of heart and no skill, and yet they are the best that we've passed. I've seen fighters that hot stick of the day and they got everybody, but their attitude may have been crappy. They may have just been kill, kill, kill. You got to balance the two. You have to balance between the kill and the chivalry. You have to balance between the heart of a singer or storyteller, their abilities, and will they get better? Plus, prior to making your announcement, you go and talk to these people. You go, all right, if you could champion, you willing to improve on these points? Or if you get champion, are you willing to stretch and get coaching for that voice? And based upon answers, then you make a decision.
Care to add anything?
Yeah, if it comes down to heart and chivalry versus are you the hottest thing on the field that day, to me, we are a chivalry-based group, and service and playing nice with your people and to me has a big sway in it. Also, you can use, it doesn't have to be the top guy. Sometimes somebody can use a little confidence boost. And sometimes you can help them along by allowing them to be your champion. If you, okay, so maybe they weren't the best on the field, but they were trying their little hearts out, then yeah, you give them that and it gives them a little confidence and they continue to strive because you've actually acknowledged they're trying.
Okay. Okay, next question. This is gonna go in both couples again. Whose turn is it now? I'm not Alex Trebek, I don't mark down whose turn it is. All right, Kat and Scott, you go first.
Okay. I was gonna say Rock,
How are you going, I'm gonna back up and I'll give you from my standpoint, the hardest choice we have to make for our champions is the Bardic. Because there's no cut and dried winner. That's our hardest one. That's my 2 cents. Okay, how are you going to promote our barony and kingdom? Or how are we going to promote our barony to the kingdom?
I'm in a position where I know a lot of people, and that we both know a lot of people at the kingdom level, and it's a ability to pull people into barony as well as to go out and be ambassadors to the barony, but more to be cheerleaders for the people in the barony, because that's really the job of Baron and Baroness, is to be the people who are saying, that's really cool about what somebody's doing, but also to say, did you see what this person is doing? I've seen it not in this barony necessarily, but in other areas where we had a lovely lady in an outlying area who was doing amazing things that nobody saw. And when you can show people how to make it so that they can see what this person is doing, it's like, oh my God. Like, I can't believe that they're doing X, Y, and Z, and, you know, that shouldn't be happening. And the Baron and Baroness's job is to make sure that doesn't happen and nobody gets left behind in the barony. So promoting the people's abilities inside the barony to other people, making sure they're getting connections with people who do the things that they do, that, you know, you introduce the people who want to learn about German costuming to Baroness Elizabeth, that you introduce the people who want to learn about case fighting to the best fighting fencers in the area who can help them get further. Because part of what's great about the SCA is that we're always all learning. So having that ability to network people in the barony to other people outside of the barony is, I think, one of the primary things Baron and Baroness should be doing. I think you got a problem, okay. I'm not sure.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Ellen is apparently working on her origami, for example.
Well, that's good.
That's right.
Origami stuff.
I'll try and make sure that my cats don't add to it.
Okay, Steph and Liz, how are you going to promote our barony to the kingdom?
It's, well, we may not know as many people out there, or they kind of know us, but now we get Baron and Baroness, they'll know us more. It'll be making those connections. It'll be showcasing, as was said, showcasing our people. It'll be going to a king and saying, look, we don't have the fighters to give you a squad. But what we do have is this. This person is great at brewing. We can enter in the kingdom's name, this person's brew. We can showcase this fighting squad for the fencers. If we don't have the asset you need, maybe we have some other asset that down the line you could use. Gladly use it. We'll gladly push the people if they need pushing, nudging, whatever, to showcase their abilities and make sure that maybe their small little art isn't quite period, but they have heart. I've seen a little boy, I was trolling in at an event, and he was putting together an outfit for a little stuffed bear at A&S. Okay, was it period? No. But he had heart, he had talent, and he got on a venture. This is how you get your pearls, your diamonds, whatever, your artisans. You get behind them and you say, hey, these are the people that are shining. And you know what? They deserve that Kingdom Award. They deserve that Kingdom recognition.
Okay. You want to add anything, Liz?
Yeah, I think that, as Kat was saying, there are people out there who fall between the cracks, so part of your job as a Baron and Baroness is to bring the attention of these kinds of people to Kingdom. And that shows that you as a Baron and Baroness are interested in not just your little chunk of Kingdom, but interested in what everybody else is doing. I can't help it, it's top of my head. And I think part of that is being able to come together with the other barons and baronesses and listen and digest what everybody said and then speak your piece. And being able to say, you know, this is what we believe in and this is what we think is right. And just being a good representative. And, you know, as Steve was saying, you know, you want to showcase all people as well, or help them to find somebody, okay, you want to do this, we don't have anybody in the barony who does this, but this person over here does that, and you as Baron and Baroness make it a point, hey, can you do me a favor, or I'd like to introduce you to this up-and-coming gentle who would like to learn a little bit more about this. And, you know, that's what makes the society
Okay.
what it is.
Okay, we're going to change a little bit here. You're both members of households, and the question is, what are your plans for the baronial camp at Penzic?
Yeah, no, okay, yeah. I have a little impromptu group called the Duck Pond, or it's
No.
named to it. What we would do, and which has worked out for someone else too, is keep a foot in each. Because sometimes you need a sanctuary away from the official. And we would keep a foot in the baronial encampment and in our own little duck pond. Use duck pond as a sanctuary to get away from pressing people that want to press their issues.
It's what the man's want.
It worked for a friend of ours who, I'll shamelessly plug our wedding, we had land one at our wedding reception, who wanted to get away from this is the end of war.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything, just come
Just
sit
come.
down, we won't tell anybody who you are. You
Yeah.
can just sit down and take your tin hat off and just enjoy and have fun, and nobody knew he was there until after he left.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do you mean he was there? It's like, "No, this
Yep.
guy was sitting over here."
It's keeping a balance in both, and I'll go on the limb now and say, look, we get Baron and Baroness, we're gonna need help with the Baronial encampment, getting stuff there, getting a good showcase. It's the people there. So the populace there need help bring stuff and make that particular little encampment shine. I know
And we'll be down there.
we'll be there, now because, like I said, we'll have a foot in each.
Okay.
As far as, no, I just meant to answer. As far as we're concerned, when I was in Central Devils Hills, I had a policy that I wanted to uphold of camping with the Barony, to encourage people to camp with the Barony, and we feel the same way about being Baron Baroness. We would camp in the Baronial encampment. Yeah, we have a household. They're a couple blocks over. We'll visit.
Okay. Okay. Scott, anything?
No, that was
Okay.
very succinctly what I.
We're almost done. All right.
Anybody else feel like you're?
This one is kind of on a
Spotlight's here?
This is on a personal nature, and
Ellen?
I have to ask it because it was asked of me to ask it of you, so I'm going to read it this way. You'll be hosting the baronial dinner at Penzig in your second year as Baron and Baroness. How do you plan to raise money for the baronial dinner at Penzig?
Yeah.
Oh, we get to go.
I have to bring the question up because if I don't, whoever asked it, so
No, that's okay. Gee, Mary.
Going to pay for that. That sounded like elitism.
It sort of is. It's a,
Oh, wait. I have to channel somebody. Fundraise.
yes, but unofficially fundraise. So,
Yeah.
after August, when I'm no longer the Kingdom Exchequer, I can actually do fundraising that's unofficial. Right now, can't actually do that. So we would try in a variety of things. Probably I would try doing a Cat's Medieval garage sale at some point, and we'll do a non-medieval garage sale and try and see what else we can do, like,
Big sales,
Big sales,
sub sales.
And there was a memorable time when Leona went and got lollipops and sold lollipops to fighters at a 100-degree weather event just to get some funds to make pictures. I don't have any adverse reaction to doing some of that stuff. You need to leave on. There's a cost to it. We're perfectly aware of the fact that there's a cost to it. And while we would try and fundraise for it, we would also make contingencies for if we didn't have enough.
Is it after you answer, I will throw something out off the record here, but go ahead.
Now, I think Kat was involved in the same conversation eons ago. When they came up for the baronial dinner and where are we going to get the funds? And I think we were both voices saying the populace should not have to pay because it's Penzig and not everybody's going to be at Penzig. So we came up with the idea of doing special fundraising where that money is just channeled and earmarked specifically for the baronial dinner. And that's what we're going to have to do. No matter who gets in, we're going to have to run bake sales and yard sales, scraping up soda cans and getting whatever it takes to get the money in, throw it into the earmark because, those that don't go to Penzig, it's a pearl, it's a flash, it's a responsibility we have that we have to fund, but we can't take it out of general funding. We have to make allocations, whatever it takes to get there, to put in the funding for it. We'll scrape something up someplace and we'll make yard sales, we'll make
Donations if we have to, if we have to buy the meat, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, throwing this little something out to both couples from the experience we've had. Mary, how much did you raise for us? What was the total?
Over $300.
Yes. The total dinner costs around $500.
Mm-hmm.
They've done away with the gifts to the other Baron and Baroness.
Thank God.
You don't have that. That has not been in effect for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay? I think Ulrich was the last one, and we stopped it after that. Okay? It'll run you roughly $500.
Yeah.
And the other good thing is, you will not have the next excellencies, which means you will not have an added attendance number like this year will have.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's where it is. Okay?
Yeah, I remember the cost from previous times that it's been done by
You
the
know how
Barony,
food
so-
costs have gone up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I know.
That was my 2 cents. All right, this is all the last question, and then each one will provide a closing statement as a couple, one person speaking. Okay? Why would you be the best choice for the barony? Scott, you're first.
I thought it was my cup.
This is the last question, then each will be allowed a closing statement.
Honestly, I'm gonna answer this kind of in a general fashion. All these candidates are excellent. This is probably the best selection of candidates that we've had.
That made me feel good.
Why do I feel across the board? Across the board. Why do I feel that we'd be better? I really hesitate. Honestly,
The question is, why would you be the best choice for the barony?
the best choice. Thank you. I'm still kind of sounds like okay.
Self-promotion.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. For us, again, one of the reasons we would be best because of our experience with the greater kingdom as a whole. Now, in some respects, I feel that we've kind of lost some touch with a few inside the barony because of our greater focus on the kingdom. I think that that's something we're going to have to work on getting back, but realistically, all of us have a wealth of experience in the SDA. We've got over a decade and a half worth of experience, each one of us, to bring to the table. And I'm an idiot guy. I tend to, for the two of us, this one tends to bring me down when I throw out like the pie in the sky, what I think is a brilliant idea and it's not, or I throw a brilliant idea out and it is, but it needs work. And, it's not me as the best candidate, it's us as the best candidate with experience, temperament, and just those two things, really.
Okay?
I think that we're better candidates today than we were the first time we ran because we have Helen, and she's taught us an awful lot. No, patience is one of those things, but also to look at what is and what isn't, and to say, okay, we can do these things, and this is great. You have to manage it better, and that's something that we weren't always great at before. But why we're the best candidates today that we could be would be that we are, both of us, much more experienced in the SCA than we had been. And we have ties outside. We're very active in the SCA at the baronial level and at the kingdom level. We do a lot, and we're continuing to do a lot. And we love this barony. My Pelican scroll has a picture of me holding up a wheel of fortune with all of the barons and baronesses shields on it. And I thank you for that. That was something that made me cry when I saw it. Because to me, that was the most, honestly, the most significant thing that could have been placed on that. And it was because I came into this barony when we were a shire. We were in the process of becoming a barony. And everything that's happened in this barony since then has been part of my life. I mean, it's difficult to explain to people outside of the SCA how much this organization means to me. But the ability to do things to give back to my barony has always been one of my biggest focuses. And I think that we as a couple are in a position to actually do that, which is why we wanted to run.
Okay. Why would you be the best choice for the Barony?
Again, we have been in it for many, many years, done many things. We've served both baronal and kingdom level. Not just offices, but service. From water bearing, which is no more on the battlefield, making sure people get hydrated, to washing dishes, to even going to other events and they need help in the kitchen and we're there. We are, I think Liz is going to use this phrase pretty soon, helium hands orientated. We're service orientated. Many years ago, we ran for this office against another couples. And I think we've grown since then, we've done a lot since then. I'm going to say this, the difference I think you're going to find between the two of us, we're more fun.
We don't have quite as much kingdom level stuff, but we have spent a lot more time in the barony stuff. We have a lot of eclectic connections between the dog stuff and my bardic stuff and his fencing stuff, and I think we can, I have a lot of patience, and we do tend to talk things out and make sure that it's a good decision and we don't go herring off on this. We sat down and talked about running for probably 3 or 4 months before we actually, because we wanted to make sure that we could do this and give it the time that it needs, and we know that there's going to be a metric but a ton of work. And we are committed to dealing with that and working our ways up. And
Okay.
so.
All right. And the last thing, I got the stopwatch out.
Yeah.
You have 30 seconds, one person to speak for the couple as to why and you should be elected. You kind of just did it with number 10,
We just did that.
but a final closing statement is what they want. You got 30 seconds. Who wants to go first? One person speak.
Give it a little time.
I'll give you a couple seconds here.
I can jump up.
This is what you guys decided when we were talking about all the questions. Okay, who wants to go first?
Well, we can do it because they went first.
Okay, you ready?
Ready? Go.
Go.
Go. All right. We believe in the glory of what is a dream. And we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it. We're gonna make people shine, we're gonna bring out the best in them, and we're gonna have fun doing it. We are vaudeville, yes, we are theater. We are bards. We make no apologies for that. We are bards, and we will voice the glory of this kingdom and the barony to our
Time's up.
ability.
Okay, are you ready? Go.
We think that we should be the Baron and Baroness because we have the ability to do the job properly, and we really want to do the job for our barony. We want to encourage the people in our barony and promote them, and we feel that the barony as a whole has an opportunity every 3 years to change and to look forward, and we want to be voice for the barony.
And please vote.
Time. All right, that's everything, all the questions. We are not opening it to questions. If anybody has questions, ask them in private. Okay?